Hey everyone, Jeff Corwin here. Today we're diving deep into a subject that's incredibly close to my heart, but it's a tough one. We're talking about our planet's oceans, rivers, lakes, and a silent crisis that's unfolding beneath the surface. Many incredible fish species, some that have been around for millions of years, are disappearing at an alarming rate. It's a form of extinction that doesn't always make headlines because it happens out of sight, deep in the blue. But just because we don't see it every day doesn't mean it's not happening. This loss is a huge deal for the fish, for the entire aquatic ecosystem, and for us too. These underwater worlds are a complex web of life, and when you start pulling out threads, the whole thing can begin to unravel. The health of our planet is directly connected to the health of our oceans. Think about it. The oceans produce more than half of the oxygen we breathe. They regulate our climate, and they provide a vital source of food for billions of people around the globe. Fish are a cornerstone of these marine ecosystems. They are predators, prey, and even ecosystem engineers, shaping the environments they live in. When a species goes extinct, it leaves a gap that can't easily be filled. This can trigger a chain reaction, affecting other animals that relied on that fish for food, or allowing other organisms like algae to grow out of control. It's a delicate balance, and we're tipping the scales in a dangerous direction. So the big question is, what's driving this crisis? It's not just one single thing, but a combination of powerful pressures that are pushing many species to the brink. Let's tackle the biggest driver of fish population decline head-on: overfishing. It's a simple concept, really. We are catching fish faster than they can reproduce and replenish their populations. For decades, our fishing technology has become incredibly advanced. We have massive factory ships that can stay at sea for months, using sonar to find huge schools of fish, deploying gigantic nets that can swallow a whole school in a single go. These methods are brutally effective, but they are not sustainable. We're essentially emptying the oceans to feed a growing global demand for seafood, and we're not giving these populations a chance to bounce back. It's like spending from a bank account without ever making a deposit. Eventually, the account runs dry. The problem is made worse by something called bycatch. This is the term for all the other marine animals that get unintentionally caught in fishing nets. Sea turtles, dolphins, sharks, seabirds, non-target fish species. These animals are often injured or killed and then simply thrown back into the ocean. For many species, the death toll from bycatch is staggering and is a major contributor to their decline. Some fishing practices are particularly destructive. Bottom trawling, for example, involves dragging a huge weighted net across the ocean floor. This practice is not only indiscriminate in what it catches, but it also completely obliterates the seafloor habitat. It's like bulldozing an ancient forest to catch a few birds. Coral reefs, sponge gardens, other fragile ecosystems that have taken centuries or even millennia to form can be wiped out in a single pass. This destruction creates a barren underwater wasteland where life struggles to return. Now let's talk about another major threat, one that turns the very water fish live in against them: pollution. Our oceans, rivers, and lakes have become the final dumping ground for an incredible amount of waste. Plastic bag, plastic bottle, that's a huge part of it. Chemicals, fertilizers, oil, industrial waste flowing from our land into the water. These pollutants devastate fish and aquatic life. They make it hard or impossible to survive, grow, and reproduce. It's a silent killer that works from the inside out. Plastic is one of the most visible forms of pollution. Millions of tons of plastic enter our oceans every year. Fish mistake small pieces of plastic for food. Plastic can block their digestive systems, causing starvation and death. Over time, plastics break down into microplastics. Microplastics can be absorbed into fish tissues. They move up the food chain. That harms fish, and the humans who eat them. Chemical pollution is another insidious threat. Pesticides, fertilizers run off into rivers and reach the sea. Excess nutrients cause massive algal blooms, eutrophication. When algae die and decompose, oxygen is sucked out of the water. Vast dead zones form where marine life cannot breathe. Industrial waste can release heavy metals, mercury, lead. These toxins accumulate in fish. They cause neurological damage, reproductive failure, and death. We must rethink waste management and control pollutant flows into our planet's fragile blue heart. Imagine if someone came and bulldozed your neighborhood, destroying your home, destroying your local grocery store and the park where your kids play. You'd have nowhere to live, no food, and no safe place to raise your family. This is exactly what's happening to countless fish species through habitat loss. A fish's habitat is its home. It's where it finds food, shelter from predators, and a safe place to spawn and raise its young. When these critical habitats are damaged or destroyed, fish populations simply cannot survive. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, support about a quarter of all marine fish species. Reefs are incredibly fragile. Bottom trawling pulverizes them. Dynamite fishing blasts them apart. Pollution from land can smother the corals, and warming ocean temperatures cause coral bleaching. A bleached reef is a dying reef. When the corals die, the thousands of species that depend on them for food and shelter are left homeless. That leads to a catastrophic collapse of the entire ecosystem. Mangrove forests along tropical coastlines are another critical habitat. Their tangled root systems serve as a vital nursery. Juvenile fish hide and feed among the roots. Commercially important species like snapper and grouper use them. Unfortunately, mangroves are being cleared to make way for shrimp farms, coastal development, and agriculture. The construction of dams can block migratory routes of fish like salmon, which need to travel upstream to their spawning grounds to reproduce. Protecting and restoring these areas is just as important as stopping overfishing and reducing pollution. Without a home, there can be no fish. The overarching threat is climate change. Our planet is warming. The oceans are absorbing most of this extra heat. This is altering ocean chemistry and ocean physics, making the seas increasingly inhospitable for many fish. These changes are happening faster than in millions of years, and many fish can't adapt in time. Climate change isn't future. It's happening now, from the poles to the tropics. Warming directly affects fish. Fish are cold-blooded, so water controls their body temperature. As water warms, metabolism speeds up, so they need more oxygen. But warmer water holds less oxygen. At the moment they need more oxygen, there's less available. That causes intense physiological stress, reducing growth, lowering reproduction, and weakening disease resistance. Many fish are migrating toward the poles seeking cooler, oxygen-rich water. Puffins in the North Atlantic rely on small fish, sand eels, to feed their chicks. Beyond warming, CO2 emissions cause ocean acidification. This hurts animals with calcium carbonate shells or skeletons, corals. Climate change is a game-changer, pushing stressed ocean life closer to the edge. Not all fish are created equal when it comes to facing these threats. Some species are disappearing at a terrifying speed, while others seem to be holding their own. Understanding the difference between the vulnerable and the resilient is key to focusing our conservation efforts. On one side, Atlantic bluefin tuna, magnificent, powerful, in deep, deep trouble. On the other side, the sardine, under pressure, but generally more resilient. The Atlantic bluefin tuna is a perfect example of a fast disappearing fish. They are warm-blooded, they can swim over 40 miles per hour, they can live for decades. Those traits make them highly sought after by the high-end sushi market. A single fish can sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Now consider the sardine. Small, silvery, forming massive schools. A crucial food source for larger fish, marine mammals, seabirds. Sardines have a life strategy built for resilience. They grow quickly, they reproduce young, they produce huge numbers of eggs. Populations can rebound quickly when conditions are right. This contrast highlights a critical point. We prize large, long-lived predators, but they are often most vulnerable. Still, even resilient species have limits, and overfishing them can collapse whole ecosystems. So, what are the specific characteristics that make some fish so much more vulnerable to extinction? It often comes down to a few key biological traits that put them at a disadvantage in a rapidly changing world. One of the most significant factors is a slow reproductive rate. Species like many sharks, rays, the previously mentioned bluefin tuna take many years to reach sexual maturity. Once they do, they may only produce a small number of offspring at a time. The orange roughy is a classic example. It can live to be over 150 years old but doesn't start reproducing until about 30. This works in a stable environment, but intense fishing can wipe populations out before the next generation is born. Another major vulnerability is a small or specialized habitat, the Devil's Hole. Pupfish lives in one tiny limestone cavern in the Nevada desert. Its entire global population exists in a pool of water no bigger than a large room. Contamination of its water source or a drop in the water level could mean instantaneous extinction. They have nowhere else to go. The size of a fish can also make it more vulnerable. Larger fish are prime targets for commercial and recreational fishing. In many species, the largest, oldest females are the most prolific breeders, producing far more eggs than younger, smaller fish. These fragile few are sending a clear warning about the health of the entire ocean. Okay, so we've looked at the problems and it can feel pretty overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you that it's not hopeless. There is so much we can do to help protect these amazing fish and their underwater homes. The solutions require action from all levels, from international governments down to each and every one of us. It's about making smarter choices and working together to give our oceans, rivers, and lakes a chance to heal, and lakes a chance to heal. The first and most critical step is to manage our fisheries better. This means listening to the scientists and setting and enforcing strict catch limits based on what fish populations can sustainably handle. They can create large-scale marine protected areas, which are like national parks for the ocean. As consumers, we have incredible power. You can choose to buy seafood that is sustainably sourced. Look for certifications from organizations like the Marine Stewardship Council. There are also consumer guides like the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch program that can help you make ocean-friendly choices. Beyond our seafood choices, we can all contribute to reducing pollution and combating climate change. This means reducing our use of single-use plastics, disposing of waste properly, and being mindful of the chemicals we use in our homes and gardens, like renewable energy and greater energy efficiency. We can support conservation organizations that are working on the front lines to protect habitats, conduct research, and advocate for stronger environmental laws. Every action, no matter how small it seems, contributes to a larger movement of change. It's about a collective effort to become better stewards of our blue planet. I've spent my life exploring the wild places of our planet. Our oceans have an incredible capacity for resilience. I've seen coral reefs thought lost start to come back. I've seen fish populations bounce back once protected. The future is in our hands. Let's make it a bright one.